Honey, what time did I say I was going to die? Welcome to the
Oh,
New Spirit radio show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date should be October 25th of 2023. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and Reverend Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
these segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. So, for new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. And we think of our bodies being similar to a car. One driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Raheim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Raheim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, Reverend Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley. Howdy.
Hello! How is it going?
It looks like you've got a pretty rainbow ribbon off to the side because all I see is like the corner edge of all your books is real pretty.
Oh,
Instead of seeing all the titles, it's just this little edge of like a rainbow color, which is fun.
I have to adjust my.
Let's. Glad everybody made it here, whether you're listening on demand or live with us. Let's see. I want to, for new people, I wanted to go through our agenda so you have an idea on what we present each and every time that we get on. I want to say every week, but hey, that means we, I can't
It's
guarantee we're on every week. So when
we
we are
try.
on, we do our best. So
Hmm.
first thing we start out with is some announcements, and then we get into a favorite conversation called "What did you use of Nova Spiritus philosophy last week?" And for those that are familiar, now's a fun time to start typing that in because then you don't have to pay attention to us so much. Just start typing what you used, and it's always fun to share those. Then we go on to a special prayers and a moment of silence. We'll start playing trance segments after that. There's a meditation that everybody's welcome to get rejuvenated with. I'll talk about some closing notes, and then we have a special prayer ceremony called a novena. I'll explain more about that later. Then I talk about appreciation, and then we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia.
Awesome.
So one of our steps is, and if you're in a place that is conducive to lighting candles, now's a good time to light one for you and everyone else that's participating. Fun. Let's see some quick announcements here. Where are we? Oh, please do share, promote, like, subscribe, and click on the bell. That way you'll be notified when we do come on live at an appropriate time, or when you see the new. When we're done recording, you'll see that there's a new episode for you to stop and watch. And please do donate when you can. Yes, we are working on other features. There'll be Patreon that you can subscribe to at a later date. And for now, go to our website, novus.org, and you can do a direct donation there. That helps us keep things like this going forward. Again, about Chris question specials, put your email address on their website and you'll get notices when specials are available. I just got an update. Reverend Corinne, I got an update today about Reverend Corinne. There is improvement, but again, let's keep adding some prayers for her recuperating.
Happily.
Uh, let's see. Last week I spoke about Sylvia's birthday being like 2 days after our last episode, and I was reading through the comments. There were some really nice comments over the last week saying "Happy birthday, Sylvia." The other one that's coming up, guess what? What birthday is Friday?
Chris's?
Nope, not quite. Well, you know what? That's funny. I should have his, and I don't have his noted. So that's one to
Sneaky.
research. It's um Novus. Sorry, New Spirit Radio's first
Oh,
live video stream
oh, that's right.
was
Oh,
October
that's right.
27th of 2021. I'm like, holy mackerel. We're on
Hmm.
what? That makes for 2 years for this now, which we're wow. To me, that's impressive. I don't know about anybody else, so and
That
I'm
is.
sure it is for you.
Oh, it is.
Also, let's see. Why did I write that? Oh, from okay. So two more. So maybe one more episode will be the next meditation. Last week I mentioned about there's another long meditation coming up, and so I need to subtract one. So it's probably like another episode in another episode. Um, so it won't be. It shouldn't be next session. It's the next one after that. But it's going to be a long meditation. So um, for
Two
those,
sessions.
yeah, and for those that are familiar with it, you'll be ready for it. For those that need some time to prep for it, this is going to be a longer meditation than the ones that we share on the show that are like 2-3 minutes. These are going to be much longer. So I encourage you to, if you can sit with your feet flat on the floor in a chair up, sitting upright, great. That's a really good way. Francine encourages that. So does Raheim. If you have a challenge of being in a meditative state for more than 15 minutes, then prepare yourself a place for yourself to do that. Okay, that's I think announcements. There we go.
Yes,
And
and
just as we were starting the show, both of our phones went ding a ling a ling. It's time for recognizing Asna and
on the
what was it?
Pacific Coast, yes.
Uh, let's see. All right, where are we?
And then on the East Coast, if you're in the Eastern time zone, it's
Oh, that's right. It would be 9 o'clock,
be
which
Father
is.
God's and Christ consciousness hour.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for adding that.
Hmm.
Let's see. So we did that, and now's our fun event of how did you use Novus Spiritus philosophy? Well, I have a disclaimer. Is that what it's called? I haven't done anything, so I'm gonna let you decide.
Okay.
I've been like
All right.
challenged.
I will volunteer. So I had an interesting experience last night, actually. Um, so first of all, I had started watching a new UFO documentary that had just come out on Netflix called Encounters, and it was really, really lovely, like really showing very reputable um, reputable people, even temple priests from no, temple monks
Huh.
from the area near the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster.
Really?
Yeah, a temple monk was like, "Oh yes, yeah, he saw a huge UFO apparently, like right over the temple right before the earthquake
Wow.
happened."
Wow.
And then miraculously, he said, "Look, it was the UFOs and the gods, because it sounds like he was a Shinto
Yeah.
individual." He said, like like divine energy and the UFOs, they saved the temple, like because everywhere else got
Dev-
inundated by the tsunami
wow.
and the
Wow.
earthquake, but the temple was untouched. And he said that he saw a huge UFO, and so the interviewer asked, like, what do you think about their intentions? He's like, "I've never met a mean one. They're very good intentions." Like, look, they saved this place. This is amazing. They were flying all over the place to in his estimation, to try to help. And so it was really,
Wow.
really interesting seeing Sylvia's predictions coming to light, that
Yeah.
during this time of this decade, that we were going to have lots of conversations about UFOs, and people were going to come out who are very reputable, who've had different encounters and different types of experiences. So that was interesting. And so I saw a UFO when I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
very, very close. And I have no problem with UFOs. Like, of course, we don't as Gnostics either. But anyway, last night I was just thinking about them and about um, the kinds of interventions, because Francine has kind of hinted at that they have healing abilities and whatnot. So just during my prayers, I kind of expanded my list of prayers, to, like, if there's to any helpers, any healers, no matter what planet you're from or what plane of existence, I would really, like some assistance with something that's been on my mind. And I felt like this wave sensation start to happen, about 5 minutes later, and it was very, very interesting. And all today, I've just been as calm as a cucumber.
Wow.
Been
Nice.
so calm as a cucumber. It was almost all day. It was really interesting, and it just feels like my whole head feels different. And so, yeah, thank you, helpers, for your help. That's great, fantastic. But
Nice.
it was really interesting because I felt this. I felt like the muscle. I didn't even know you have like muscles up here, but I felt muscles on the right side of my head actually like twitching for a good 10 minutes. Because I felt this kind of wave sensation happen. It was so different. And what came to mind was the phrase brainwaves. And I was like, okay,
Brainwaves.
thank you. Brainwaves. Okay.
All right.
So thank you in regulating brainwaves, whatever the heck that means. I don't know anything about brainwaves, but fine. So that was my interesting experience. So what did I use? I was just excited about UFOs.
It sounds like the one of Francine's meditations talks about. No, I can't remember if it was Francine or Raheim, but one of the meditations talks about having like a funnel in your forehead or opening your third eye, and that's what that sounds like, is
Yeah.
that form of feeling the effects of that external intervention
Yeah, absolutely.
or adjustment
Yeah,
or
I did. I genuinely did feel this wave sensation of like this movement of back and forth. So that was really interesting and different. And it was a nice meditation experience before bed. So yeah, that was something that I used very intentionally of Novus philosophy. I got so excited. I'm
nice.
so excited to see where the UFO conversations go. Personally, I'm so excited to see just what happens this decade.
What was the name of that show again?
Encounters.
Encounters.
And it really
Okay.
showed them in a really, positive light without the fear mongering, and I really appreciated that. It had, had a few, like, what was this about? This, and
Yeah.
showed a few people like being scared because they didn't understand what was happening. Of course,
Yeah.
but it didn't have the fear mongering. It just showed some. Apparently, there was a UFO at Chernobyl.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, there was a UFO at Chernobyl, and the whatever they used to measure the radiation, it had some number. It was like 1,500. This very, very high radiation because it was a meltdown.
Yeah.
And they said a UFO. Workers saw a UFO come and like hover over reactor 4, shine a beam of light on reactor 4 for 3 minutes, and then off it went. And then they took readings, and the radiation was cut in half.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, fascinating.
I hadn't heard that.
Fascinating.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, Encounters on Netflix. It was a fun time.
Because the reason I asked, I walked in on my partner watching a show, and I didn't recall the title of it, and it was about UFO encounters. So I think that was the. I think that was it. There was some fun stuff in there. That we heard about. Now, a funny side note on UFOs. I was over at my mom's house, and it was I don't know, like 9 o'clock at night, 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. So it's dark out, and I'm walking out to my car in the driveway, and I look across the driveway, across the street, and over the houses. I see these lights, flying in the sky.
Wow.
And, well, then all of a sudden they started creating letters in the sky, and I go, okay, that's drones.
Oh, okay. You got me.
They had a fancy display of lights in the sky, and I go, Mom, come in and look, and then it's some girl's name, homecoming with a question mark. So
Yeah.
somebody had a fancy way of,
Asking
the
asking a girl out. An
yeah,
out of this world way of asking her out on a date.
exactly. Well, yeah, there. It turns out there's a high school on the other side of the neighborhood from her, and there was some big event going on, and yeah, somebody got asked out apparently. So
Well,
that was
that's
unique.
cute. Ah, mm.
Cool. Anybody else?
Cool.
Anybody in the
Yes.
comments or sharing or
Yes. Yes. First, I'm going to start with a prayer request from Gina. She says,
okay?
"Everyone, please pray for my mom. She's in the hospital with COVID, and now I have the COVID as well. I am
Wow.
praying hard that my niece and her son don't get it, whom I'm staying with while I'm here visiting mom. We will keep you and your family in our prayers, and during special prayers, I invite us to think about um, positive energy, healing energy, Gina's way." We have I'm scrolling up because so there was so much gratitude and like so many gratitude posts at the very start that it got me emotional, and then I started crying,
Oh.
and then I got like a piece of mascara in my eye, and then I just like
Oh.
I couldn't
Ow.
stop. I'm so tearing up and tearing up and tearing up. So anyway, all the love is very sweet. Um, let's see here. Okay, so Reverend Danny, hello. He says, staying focused on the end goal, and at the end of something, waiting can be challenging to not blame himself. Okay, that's sounds like some good work. Garden says, asked their inner high council and God to help me limit and fix a problem. It worked. Also, a pink angel is cherubim, blue angel is archangel. The angel book was very interesting. Ah, nice. Very nice. Reverend Danny continues, really try and overcome my own fears and branch out with ministering and meeting new people in person and in all forums, connecting with and helping others. Yeah, I feel that I've been thinking about I gotta actually start the project that I have in mind. So I totally get it. High five, solidarity from afar. Bam. Old school shares. I've been visualizing healing prayers for a good friend who's very ill and making a call or text every day with different folks, sharing with them how much they mean to me and that I'm thinking about them. That is really, really sweet. I've been thinking, you know, I'll just say this as an aside. I remember when I was younger, maybe about 18 or so, someone came up to me and said, "You know, that one positive thing that you said to me was the only positive thing anyone said to me that whole week, and it saved my life." And after that, I took that very much to heart, to just keep in mind that you can't say too many nice things, really. When it comes down to it, you just can't. And to not let my own shyness or worries about how I might come across get in the way. I'm like, no, I'm just going to be known as the person who's just very outspoken and like says nice things to people. Sure, that sounds like a good thing to stamp on my life. So that's it just came to mind. I wanted to share that. You never know when those texts make a really big difference, and they do. Danny says, I've been trying a lot of healing with Qigong and Reiki. That is so cool. That is so cool. Oh, man. Love Qigong. Love Reiki. Gina also adds for her prayer request, I'm hoping to get out of quarantine before I have to leave next week and go home. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm hearing other people like a celebrity had been out with COVID. They had to cancel a show, and I'm like, wow, that just kind of boggles my mind that we're hearing about it more and more.
Yeah, I had I think like I think about 20% of my practice is sick right now. Like
Mm,
everyone texted me saying like can't make it, can't make it, can't make it, can't make it.
wow.
Because so please everyone be smart, stay protected. I need to get my vaccine.
Take your vitamin
Okay.
C.
Yes, take my vitamin C. Take your vitamin C. Yes. Alyssa shares, my mom and sister saw silver orbs in the backyard once, and they stayed still for a while and then disappeared out of the blue.
Hmm.
That's amazing.
Was it with the naked eye or the in a camera?
Mm.
I'm curious.
Oh, good question. Good question. Yeah, I wonder if it's part of the UFO discussion or if it's an angel discussion.
Yeah.
Gosh, the thing that I don't the thing that I grieve about our iPhones having and smartphones having cameras is that you don't get to see the angel orbs anymore, really, on them. Like when you
Why do
take
you think
when you
so?
take like a I mean, well, whenever I scroll through a picture, like
Yeah.
I never see them. But
Uh huh.
on the old like manual photos, you see them all the time.
Oh well. See, there's
Yeah.
two parts. It's either um, one, lenses are getting better, but two, the 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 orbs that you think you saw, some of them could have been um, I don't want to think it's light refraction, but light reflection in the lens system.
Hmm.
You know, if you put a camera, you don't have to point it at the sun, but if you point a camera in line with the sun or the sun is just off center,
Sure.
it's gonna
A
put
flare,
those
right?
flare, yeah, the circles in the lens through the lens, um, which is different than an orb, which is usually like one spot that's like to me they're whenever I've seen them they're the little frosted dots in I don't know I might have mentioned earlier in the past that I have an app on my phone that monitors the cameras at at our office. And one evening, I got a ding ling ling on my phone, and I look it up, and here's this orb zipping across in front of the camera in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Whoa!" So yeah, but yeah, I
Wow.
hear you. And see, the other thing too is the enhancement of film. They're getting so advanced that it might interpret those as an anomaly and go and get rid of
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
digitally get rid of it.
Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, it's interesting. We've got a few more comments. Alyssa says it was in plain sight, silver orbs,
Nice, fun.
and it was back in the mid '90s. Yeah, that's about when I saw. Oh no, wait! I saw my orbs. They were in a V formation. They were all moving independently of one another, and it was before drones. They were all
Yeah.
just balls of light, maybe like 10 feet above me, um, and just like soundless, just moved across, and
Yeah.
I just waved. I was like, I don't know what
Right.
else to do. Like,
Watching that UFO episode got Rosie, my partner, excited that
mm,
she's contemplating where are we gonna go. You know, where we gotta go. And I said, well, she says, how far is it to Texas? And I said, it's a couple days. And I said, there's places like Nevada and Arizona because they were also talking about where these events had happened and
oh
the
yeah,
desert places.
yeah,
And on
yeah.
top of that, I had been watching a Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of his explainer, not an explainer, but they were talking about light pollution. A recent episode about light pollution and where are these designated spaces that they're encouraging to keep it dark, you know, to
Mm,
minimize light pollution for just as like we have a national forest and we want to preserve those areas, they're trying to preserve areas for minimal or no light pollution as well. It's a interesting. I hadn't heard that that was going on, but I thought I was neat to hear. But there are
mhm.
several places you can go where it's like dark and minimal light pollution, and that would be a fun place. One, it's to see the sky, but two, they're usually remote places that it's possible you could have an encounter
Yeah,
with a special kind.
yeah. Um, Ramona says that she's seen UFOs and even got a picture of one in the daytime. Oh, wow.
Cool.
And one last comment. Jorge says, please pray that everything goes well with me moving on October the 31st. Thanks. Blessings to all. Blessings back at you, and we'll keep you in our prayers. Mm-hmm.
Fun.
All right.
What else are we supposed to be doing here?
I think it's prayer time.
There you go. Thank you. So if you have a special prayer need, you can either post it in the comments, whether it's today, tonight, or another time. If you want to make a private prayer request, you can always go to the website and put it in the prayer chain. There should be a link there that you could get to on the website itself. But you can do that later after the show. We would miss you. For those of you that do have a special prayer, let's all put out energy that we're going to ask that Mother God and the archetypes, archangels, whoever needs to get out and put that energy out to help those that have special need. And let's visualize what those outcomes would be. And we ask for, what's the right phrase? What's the right phrase? The best outcome. That's not the right verbiage, but we'll eventually get to it. They know what they need. So let's take a moment of silence. We're going to ask for that energy to get out and help those that could need the help. Amen.
Amen.
Of course, yes, we will be asking again later about for the greater good. That's the phrase I was trying to remember. Ask for the greater good. Let's see, we got that. Very good. So, and again, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. If you are streaming challenged, we do have a conference call number. You can listen in while we are live, or if you're in the car and you want to listen while we are live, that number is 888-534-2696. And we do appreciate that you stay muted so that everybody enjoys their a good session. Now we've got trance segments. What are we going to hear?
Excellent. We are going to hear from Raheim. And he's going to pick up talking about that you do not have a God that appreciates suffering. So God is not for suffering, does not want us to suffer. There's nothing to learn from that. You're not accomplishing much by writhing in pain except maybe increasing stamina or survival.
Is that why we don't sell cat o' nine tails on our in our website?
Yeah. Ooh. Oh boy. Yeah. Let's see. The next one is wrong intellectual knowledge and bad programming. And lastly, pain does not cleanse anything.
Interesting. All right. Here we go. Take notes.
They have really maybe completed a lot of internal stamina. But please be aware what I've said. I don't know how to make it unless I emblazon it in, across your soul. You do not have a God that appreciates suffering. Mm-hmm. We do not have a masochistic or sadistic God that enjoys his children, his lights, going out and writhing, the same as any mother or father. And you know how much you love your children. We'll magnify that billions of times by God's love. And imagine sitting and watching your children suffer on that level and saying, well, it's only for their better good. There's no such a thing. That's not the God of love that does that. So also in knowing that I'm not accomplishing anything by writhing and suffering and pain and destruction of my I am and all that, it may do something as far as your endurance and your stamina and your your survival maybe. But I don't know if it does much. We don't see it doing that much for the whole perfection scheme. Because perfection scheme really is what you lend to another person, what you give to another person, and you see suffering for suffering's sake, people watching that, they don't learn anything from that, except the only thing they learn is, that's ugly, and I don't want to do that. That's what they learn. And then the fear sets in, oh my God, am I meant to do that? Will I get this horrible disease and do that? See, people were never supposed to suffer with cancer like that. They were never supposed to suffer with diabetes like that. They never were supposed to suffer with any of these horrible illnesses like that. But unfortunately, the wrong intellect has been given to them. Intellectual knowledge, like they will give them, is powerful, empowering. The wrong intellectual knowledge would be this. This is the stages of what you will go through. You have diabetes, your foot will rot off, you will go blind, and your kidneys will fail. That's the wrong genetic message. That's the wrong cell message. Where if you can go back and write it and say, yes, your sugar is bad, you might have written in sugar, okay, but sustain yourself as long as you can, and then go into uremic poisoning and die. No, seriously. And that's an easy way to go.
Yeah.
It's a better way.
Yes, because then you just fill up with liquid and you lose consciousness. There is nothing that is in the makeup of any chart. And we're always amazed by the phenomena of the programming that comes with life. And the more, again, civilized you become, the more uncivilized the death and dying and even living process has become. Yes?
Would you comment based on your chat here on some of those like Hindu ascetics that believe to suffer and have pain is to cleanse the soul?
Well, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's all I can say. It's totally ridiculous.
Any notion as to why they have that?
Because they feel that the human body is vile. They're not unlike St. Augustine in his City of God, in which he believed that the human being was a vile receptacle. And so they must have their own perfection scheme, but we don't see that it really raises the soul up any higher. Because then you have to ask yourself, and I'm certainly not in a place of judgment for anyone, because each to his own. But stop and think about it on a rational, logical level, because God is rational and logical also. What does it behoove a man to suffer? What do you gain? Now, there's a certain amount of suffering that you must go through in life just to live life, of the agony of sometimes being defeated, being embarrassed, going through certain things, rising above it, conquering your fears, but not the physiological body.
It's almost, to me, it seems like a reversal. To be so into the body, you want to hurt it, has no room for spirit anymore.
No, it's too much earthbound.
And very earthbound.
And it's very self-indulgent.
Yes, it is.
Very.
Yes.
So you mentioned when some people do go through cancer, but they haven't learned from it. So will it manifest itself in another physical thing? Or when you say they haven't learned from it, it's like they still cling on to the suffering part?
Well, it's not so much they haven't learned from it. I might have said it wrong. It's just that they can't learn that they don't have to keep it, or that they don't have to suffer with it. See, no one has ever told anyone, really, not medically, you don't have to suffer with cancer. See, because the whole program is, you have cancer, and boy, are you going to suffer. And if you don't suffer, we're going to give you chemotherapy that is going to assure the fact that you suffer. And that if that doesn't work, we're going to radiate you, and that's going to make you suffer. Because it's known, and it was overheard, as I told you, in some of the guides came back and reported that they listened to a conference in which there were very high medical, I think you call it muckety mucks, and they said chemotherapy was a way of getting people depleted to die.
So something else could take.
Well, it lowers the white cell count, and then when you lower the white cell count, you can be rest assured there is no defenses. Now, am I against chemotherapy? Yes, I am. Am I giving out an edict that you shouldn't do that? No, of course not. I would not do that. But I'm saying, even if, let's say, you feel better with it or you're going to do it, then don't fall into the trap of believing that you should be sick with chemotherapy. Don't fall into the trap that says you should be sick with radiation. Yes.
And are these the reasons that a family physician that I know or used to know chose not to have any sort of treatment, but just to walk through with them?
Probably because they had seen how horrifying it is. This friend of Sylvia's that died here not very long ago absolutely refused. He was very stilted MD in his time, and decided to go the cat's claw and the shark's fin and the natural. And here he was, this dyed-in-the-wool erythromycin, penicillin, let's get the rods in the spine. But when he got it, no, yes.
So someone who decides to go through the chemotherapy and kind of just does everything that the doctors tell him to do and suffers, that means that maybe they're not able to accept the passing over.
Well, not only that, but they're not able to accept their own destiny. And it's very much like Dr. Small had said to Sylvia, the people that survive the longest are the ones that get in the doctor's face. See, rather than saying to the doctor, whatever you say, he literally, of course, being another physician, got the doctor by the throat and said, listen to me, I don't want to die that fast. So you're going to make, and he said to him, damn sure that I live. Well, see, the doctor was just taken aback. They never had anybody talk to them like that, especially from another doctor. So whoever you are and wherever you are, you don't be afraid to get into, whether the onthologist or whoever it is, get in their face. Tell them, many doctors will say, well, I'd show you the lab reports, but you wouldn't understand it. Say, then you're going to sit with me and explain it to me. It's your body.
Be your own advocate. And if not, hire someone that's going to be your advocate.
Absolutely. I know I've talked about this before, but that was one of the biggest life lessons that I had to learn in this, in my whole life, in my opinion, was this exact thing that he's talking about right now, which is I had accepted so many doctors telling me that there was no hope and that I would just have to live in pain. That was the message, right? That was the message. Like, oh, this pain, you're just going to have to live with it. You're just going to have to live with it. You're just going to have to live with it. And I accepted that. And I let it crush my hope and like get me into a darker and darker place when I was in my 20s. And it wasn't until I finally started saying, no, you have to go back in there and figure it out. I'm not accepting this anymore. I literally can't. I cannot live like this anymore. I cannot live in pain anymore. You have got to figure this out. And it wasn't until, once I was able to do that, everything started clicking for me in my head and everything started to even out very, very quickly. It took, I want to say, from the time that I had that turnaround, I was in surgery to maybe 1 or 2 months later. I had another surgery like 6 months after that. And then I had physical therapy stint, and then I was pain free. And I had been living in like awful pain for 18 years. 18 years of doctors saying, you're just going to have to live with the pain.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to live with it. And I remember thinking at the time, saying, how can a doctor say that? How can a doctor say that? But it was still on me that I accepted it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was still on me. And that was what I had to learn to overcome. And I'm glad I did. I wish I would have done it sooner, but
Hey, yeah. You did the best.
Better
you could
late
with
than
what
never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've got some comments I'd love to share. Cheryl says, my son has 12 years cancer without chemo. He said, I want to live till I die. Whew, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And I'm really, I don't know about other people listening to what we just listened to, but I found myself being shocked both times now that I've listened to this with how Raheim talks about chemo, saying like, no, you don't have to accept being sick with it. No, you don't have, like, no matter what direction you go with anything related to cancer or any other illness, you don't have to accept it. You have to jump on it and say, I do not accept this particular path. I am not going to live this way. I'm going to live this way. I love Raheim for that. I love him for that. He's so good at just saying, like, I don't know, just shocking, like saying
the analogy.
Yeah.
An analogy that someone could use to help adjust their thinking and what they've heard, and is, maybe you have charted to have a car accident. Well, okay, let's program for just a minor paint scratch, or maybe somebody rubbed the car the wrong way, instead of a fender bender or totaling the car. Let's keep it to a minimum. Ask for the minimum.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then visualize what that really is like. I think that was what I had to work on for the endometriosis journey. I had to visualize what a life without pain would be like, and that was scary. That was really scary, because it's like fraught with hope. Oh God, is this going to work? Oh God, is this going to work? But but by the time that I'd reached that point, I had told God, I said, I will do my part. You have to do yours. I will leave no stone unturned, but you have to do yours. And by that point, by just saying that and giving that part to God, it allowed me to be able to move forward. It allowed me to be able to hope again and say, like, no, I know God is going to do their part. I'm going to do mine. This is part of what I have to do, is visualize letting this go. And it was really interesting. I don't know if other people can relate to this, but it was like interesting, feeling the weight just dissolve with all of the work that we, do, like have done with cell memory and everything. So
a fun reminder of visualizing. On my YouTube feed, a video popped up from Bay Area television shows, and I go, "Oh, that's interesting." Well, it was an episode of Sylvia on People Are Talking. Was it People Are Talking? The afternoon live show from the Bay Area here. Anyway, she was on, and one of the things she talked about with people and guests on the show were visualize. Visualize the outcome, visualize what you want, program for what you want.
Absolutely.
Cool.
This is
Any comments or?
Yeah, let's see here. Ramona says, related to what we're talking about. She said, mind over matter. Once my cancer was removed, I told myself I didn't have it anymore. That's me. Yeah. Just a simple statement like that similar to what I was saying for myself of just like, you're gonna have to live with this pain forever. You're just gonna have to live with it. You're just gonna have to, like, no, you have to like find every one of these statements and root them out and replace them with something just like that. You don't have it anymore. You don't have it anymore. So that's amazing, Ramona. High five.
While you're reading, I was just thinking of the visualization process, and the what's the right word? The steps behind this is the see it, believe it, receive it, is the sort of generic term
See
of
it, believe it, receive it.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And well, fun minor point was in one of Sylvia's books, she talks about that process is, yes, you're seeing it, yes, you're believing it, but don't go in debt. Think of yourself,
True.
in the present. Visualize yourself in the present, doing, getting or if it's new furniture, you're looking for resources for new furniture. Great, visualize yourself purchasing new furniture, and oh, by the way, you're happy handing over cash to pay for it. And by the way, it was real easy to get. You had, your income made it affordable, and what's the right word? Pleasure to say, oh yeah, we can do this. So fill it in. Fill in all the as much as you can, from the aromas to the scents, the feelings, and so on. Visualize it, but the fun point is don't go in debt. So, I mean, I used to do that. It's like, oh, let's visualize and we'll get later receive to be able to do. Well, okay, that gets you into trouble because maybe you haven't programmed enough for getting the things, and then you go out and put yourself into debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Don't go into debt in the process. Well, you think we're maybe ready for our second?
All right, great.
Okay, our second segment. So this Raheim's going to have the conclusion. So he's going to talk about when is the right time to die.
Cool.
Yohimbe and prostate problems. Medical doctors are on the fifth ray of creation, so yes, use the doctors. Raheim doesn't agree with Christian Science, and Dr. Salk's vaccine was a direct infusion.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
Here we go.
Is there any way to help a person accept their destiny? I know that.
You mean help them talk them over? You mean talk them over?
Or just to get them to realize, to accept and maybe take charge of what's happening.
By talking to them in this way. You have control of your body. You've had control in it all the way around. You've had control in it all your life. You're able to get up and dress yourself and brush your teeth and put a Band-Aid on yourself. Why all of a sudden that you've got this mysterious thing inside of yourself that all of a sudden you've given up? If you're hungry, you eat. If you're sleepy, you're tired. See, these are all the functions of the body. Why is it all of a sudden that somebody tells you you have a mysterious illness that right away you throw up your arms and you can no longer do anything? Have you just now given up the will of what? Who you are?
And to also just what it does to you is.
And people will really, and they're doing better now because we're seeing more and more cures of cancer, is people are now beginning to take charge. And this is coming about with a lot of this alternative. And not only prayer, healing, meditatively, tones, lights, color, talking to the cells, going back to the mind, soul, or like they used to call the Altman, or the Ka, going back to that place where the beginnings of this happened and pulling it up and saying, no way, no way. Now, is it the most important thing to live? Of course not. The most important thing to live is to live as well and as happy as you can for as long as you will, and then go with grace. You see, this eternal life business is ridiculous. And what has always been part of this civilization, not the ancient ones, the ancients always looked towards, even the ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, looked towards death as a trip. In this culture, now, and unfortunately it's spreading even to the more simplified culture, the more the missionaries don't keep their silly noses out of it, go in there. And you see, everything in Christianity was a suffering and death of Christ. And that was something to be looked up to as a wondrous thing. The more you suffer, the more you hang on the cross, the more you bleed, the more you writhe, that's what's to be looked towards. That's ridiculous. Yes.
One of the things that amazed me, Raheim, in the healing class I just concluded, and I thank you because I asked your help in it, and what you said clarified some of the message you probably give me, that in your culture and Oriental culture, there is an orientation from health to cure disease. But in Western medicine, it's disease to bring about health, which is just the opposite. Your culture and the Oriental culture always look to make the body healthy in order to bring about that cure. But we've reversed that process in this Western system.
Well, the same thing as you've done in your justice system. You are guilty till proven innocent.
Yeah.
You used to be innocent till proven guilty. Everything in your society, the pendulum hasn't swung, it's stopped.
But I thank you for bringing that in my class.
Because the whole thing about the magic of living till you die and then walking across the threshold was always the possibility and the knowledge and the actuality. That's the most, the actuality of Nouveauites, Gnostics, because there's nothing to be gained for living forever and ever. Because when you stop and think about it, it's like Sylvia said to these people today, when is a good time for you to go?
Yeah.
Would you necessarily? It's like Sylvia said to her son once, I would like for, and Chris said a very valid thing to her, I really would, she said, love for my father to have seen Angelia grow up. He said, and then what? Then Angelia has children and you want him to stay around to see them grow up. So when would you, mother, he said, been willing to let go of daddy? And that's true. When are you ready to say there is a time in which there is nothing to be seen or done? And very few people are ever privy to that. Maybe some woman in a walk-up somewhere who eats dog food, but even then she may be so madly in love with her pets that even then she's not ready to go. So there's always, if you want to make it down on the material level, when would be a time that you could point to your watch and say, at this given month and time, I'm just going to be happy as a lark to go? No. But what you can do in the in-between, see, what we're trying to do is make the in-between and to the end. We know the beginnings now, but to the beginning, the middle, and the end, especially this middle and end, is to make it a song rather than a discord. And rather than living with the ominous feeling, not only will I die, but I will die with this terrible racking pain, suffering, because probably I'm suffering for somebody's sins, including my own. And that is an old ancient churchianistic belief. And that's why they always got the good suffer. So of course, if you're good, you're going to necessarily want to suffer more, because that denotes the fact that you're probably better than the evil person who might just drop dead. So it's always been admirable to suffer. It has always been not admirable, let's say, to be happy and to go quickly. Because you'll hear of people going quickly, and you'll invariably hear people look at each other and say, well, wouldn't you know? They went that easy. When so-and-so went that hard. As if it is a shame to go that easy. And it is admirable to go very hard. Yes.
So if your doctor tells you you have a disease, okay, and you choose not to take his advice, but use our method, okay? In other words, are we cheating the doctor? I mean, are we cheating God if we don't use the doctor's advice?
Oh, of course, because like Francine said, use both. You see, the thing we don't want to do, holistic never interferes
Right.
with the medical profession. The medical profession you're going to see in the next 5 years is going to come towards more holistic. Because you see, the one thing the AMA has got, and they're very clever, is they don't want to be left out of the mix. So if they realize very quickly that Yohimbe helps with prostate problems and something else doesn't, they're going to get on the bandwagon of Yohimbe. No, you must always, because doctors, medical doctors, are on the fifth ray of creation. Use all of it. And that's what even most of the astute doctors. Now, what she was saying is, this doctor friend, as well as Sylvia's friend, he might have taken all the medical advice, assimilated, and he made his own choice. But if you have a raging, let's say, gangrenous problem, and you think you're going to just soak it in Epsom salts without going with the antibiotics that are made in this world, that's just, see, now you're getting into the Christian Science, which I've never agreed with. Because there are certain things that God has ordained for these people, like letting it go through Dr. Salk for the Salk vaccine. That was a direct infusion. This has saved many, many children from polio. Oh no. Use what your doctor says in conjunction, even if you're going through the chemotherapy, even if you're going through the radiation, even if you're going through diabetic treatment, even if you're going through cholesterol treatment or high blood pressure treatment. Use all the cell memory with it, because what you'll do is you'll not only add to what the doctor has done, but you'll cure even deeper than the medication can. Okay, well, I'm going to go.
Excellent work, as always. Thank you so very much.
And then Francine will be here next week to take you through another regressive process.
With it. Wonderful talk. Thank you so much.
So a lot of fun. That was the end of a trance evening that we had, and what came to mind with that is how we've learned to view death and dying. It's like a fearful thing and avoid it, and we want to live forever, which some people are working on living forever, and some have what's the word, frozen themselves, hoping that maybe in the future they could come back and continue on a life. And it's very, a lot of varied ideas. What an interesting thought came to mind, or in a memory, was when I went to, what is it, Cancun, and I think I got to visit the I think it's called Chichen Itza, one of the big pyramids, out for display for the public to come and see. All kinds of structures around it, and the guide was telling us that the games they used to play, they had the stone hoop up on the wall, and they'd be playing, I think it was a stone ball they were working with and playing with too. The guide there would tell us, or told us, that the loser of the game would get his head cut off as a ceremonial. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's kind of anyway, not a poor way to promote a game or influence a game. However, the documentaries I've watched about those societies, it was the opposite. It was the winner of the game, the leader or the coach of the winning team. It was an honor that they won, and in honor of that, they cut his head off and released him to, let him release him from his body. And I go, wow, that's a very interesting, different way to look at philosophy, to look at things, which also I guess goes along the lines of when the Spaniards came to invade. it's like, okay, very different beliefs, and how they could think of the local natives as being horrible, and um, uh, I can't think of the right words for it, but whole idea of killing somebody, that to them would seem like a sacrifice or something like that, which would be a pagan thing to believe in. So fun fun ideas to hear the two sides of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I recall Francine talking about that particular game, that ball
Mm-hmm.
game, and how the winner would die. She said that on the other side, they still considered it a suicide, but because they were respecting kind of like there was some like a spirituality component to it,
Yeah.
they let the winner stay on the other side for 61 years before
Mm.
having to come back. So whatever person was who won the ball game,
Yeah.
they got to take a 61-year break before having to come back.
Wow. Wow.
So it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm curious which one that I'd like to hear that one again. That's a tough way to go back and pinpoint that one, but yeah,
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, it was when she was talking about her one life in the Mayan Aztec, the Inca Aztec.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
that
all right.
culture. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. Gina asks, Kat, did you say green tea and black tea are good for COVID, or was it just green tea? The research studies that I have read have largely favored green tea, but from what it sounds like is the main ingredient. I forget the acronym for ECGC, I think. Please forgive me. It's found in they were able to find it in black tea as well, but the most of the science articles that I've read has cited green tea. So I strongly encourage you to check that out if that's something you're interested in. So, and as always, we always encourage you to seek a licensed healthcare provider.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
What else have people talked about?
Yes. So I've got Ramona says, Gardens, I need some of your great ideas to utilize. Garden says, Ramona, I'm writing notes and pausing. I'm so behind on the live stream, but thanks for making me feel needed. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. The notes for today are very, very interesting. Raheim did share a lot. He very much did share a lot. So I wanted to just highlight one thing, which is that some people could look at everything that we're talking about and say, like, oh, this sounds a lot like Christian Science, which is just like belief, belief, belief.
Mm-hmm.
If you just believe it, then it'll be true. But Raheim like is on the record saying he does not agree with Christian Science. So as always, we always encourage people to work hand in hand with a doctor. Doctors are on the fifth ray of creation, as they said, and it's okay to go hand in hand with the medical Western world, as well as more naturopathic and holistic practices as well. So what feels right for you.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have any other thoughts, Tom?
Nope. Other than what's next.
All righty. So let's move on to the last segment then, which is a new trance with Francine. on March 24th, 1997. She's going to kind of recap what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So trauma coming in versus the trauma of passing over. Many people lately at that time were arriving on the other side feeling very confused. Healers are not always able to heal themselves. Surgeons cannot operate on themselves. And a quote from Francine, "It's no failure to be ill." Okay.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I know that Raheim talked to you last week about the orientation rooms, the ante room, and the different levels of going back, and especially the prior coming in, which I think should be very interesting to most of you as the mystical travelers and Nouveauites, or as even just Gnostics, is that so many of you are the ones that do. When we say orientation, that's what we mean. So many of you are in the orientation rooms. And you really are there to orientate people coming in and also going out. And I think he was, as much as I listened to last week, I tried to hear all of it, is that actually the coming in part can be just as traumatic, if not more so, than the coming back part. And I think that there was some mention even at board tonight about the cell memory being so specifically marvelous, because what you're doing on this end then is really orientating people to bypass cocooning and a lot of that shock factor that goes into leaving the body when you are really ingrained in the knowledge of cell memory. I think too many times in the healing processes of life, there is so much that is forgotten in the aspect of that the human body must be saved at all costs. That's not factual. The main thing is to get the soul ready to progress itself to its final homecoming. That doesn't mean that we are a religion that just looks forward to death as being, and life is nothing. We're not into the old ancient Egyptian where they did truly live their life for death. Because we do believe that life is very important, if for no other reason, to learn our tests. But we do know, and we do live our lives, or should live our lives, with the transient feeling that we are going to go home. I'm not so worried about any of you that are, in fact, I'm not worried at all about any of you that are mystical travelers, gnosis, Gnostics. What I am concerned about is the people that are not aware of these, and to prevent, it certainly doesn't matter about our job, because that's our job anyway, but it's awfully hard to see people, not so much, we're not seeing so much earthbound, but we're seeing people so disoriented when they come back. More so than we did from what some of the elders tell us, is more so that they're confused and really out of sorts, and more people, because of the shattering effect of the world and the way it is. When people live closer to the earth and they were more simplistic, and you notice in ancient cultures, life and death is nothing more than the passing of time. The more so-called, as Raheim calls it, this so-called, in quotes, civilization, which isn't civilized at all, has really capitalized people to the point that they have forgotten what it's like not only to live simplistically, but to die with dignity. And that's one of the things that the forefathers knew. People lived with the idea that there was a beginning, a middle, and an end. and that there was some reward. Even in the ancient times, even in ancient cultures, there is a reward to go, whether it's the happy hunting ground, whether it's the nirvana, whether it's to a greater reward or beatific vision. Everyone believes, usually, if they have any type of knowledge, that they're going to a greater glory. We have an extra knowledge that we know that we not only go to a greater glory, but exactly where it is that we go. So in doing the healing, the giving of knowledge, the cell memory, the tools, the journeys, it really, we can see the difference. We always know when a Gnostic is coming in. We just know it. We don't have to do anything but greet them, smile, and lead them. With so many of the population, they're very, very much, and sometimes when people have died in pain, what is so traumatic, they will carry this pain with them. To show you how strong that cell memory is, it's so ingrained in the soul that we have to go into an awful lot of counseling to tell them, you're not carrying that body anymore. It is not diseased. If you were deaf, now you can hear. If you were blind, now you can see. And it's very, very difficult, not for us, but for them. So in doing this, please be aware that the healing goes far beyond this life. I know in healing we always want to see the spontaneous, as Sylvia calls the remission, which you will see. But please be aware that it's so much more far-reaching than you realize it to be. You're preparing people to make that final journey that is the ultimate of journeys and probably the most joyous of journeys. And it's very much like, it's so tragic because it's very much like letting somebody wear their finest dresses, be all dressed up, and then having mud thrown on them so they don't look as nice as they could possibly look or feel. So to have them come over in full embodiment of their glorified body is a marvelous thing to have happen, yes.
I think that is a concern for people who want to be healers and health
It's always
professionals.
been.
It's when they have failures, quote unquote failures. There are really no failures. You're helping them at some point, somewhere, if not here.
But I think the world of healing, very much like the world of medicine, has gotten way out of the conditioning factor of what it should be. The old doctor that told you you were going to be all right and patted you on the head is no longer there. The healer who was there that said you really will be all right, and if your body is like a snake skin that's shed, you really, truly, you yourself will be all right, is where we will come in to that, because that's, yes.
Could I follow on to that? There's also the other side of the coin. Those of us in this work get rather a failure syndrome when we become ill. And we think, whoa, what's wrong with me? And is my spirituality off track? Am I jacked up somehow? But that's not true either. There's no off track.
That's because you see, you might have charted this for the greater good. I think it's very much to use Sylvia as an example. Healers are not always able to heal themselves, nor are psychics ever psychic about themselves. Mm-hmm. See, when you're a tube by which energy goes through, you can't always turn your tube around. It's like Sylvia said many times, surgeons do not operate on themselves and cannot. So it's no failure to be ill.
Again, it's life lesson. Are you perfectly spiritual? I don't think so, because you wouldn't be here if you had perfect spirituality. And it's a learning process. Well, how did you grow up, and what kind of things were you told that you could or couldn't do, or couldn't, achieve, kind of thing. So, yeah, that's. I think this is interesting. We're in the series of helping with the cell memory and cleansing and helping identify our emotional challenges, as it were, and helping to alleviate those.
Yeah. Um, I am really struck by what we just ended on, with her saying that uh, it's not a failure to be ill, and it's okay that, if you are working really, really hard on a healing and it's just not coming through, it's not a failure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a failure, and it's not something that we need to be ashamed of or to hide. I remember visiting a community that had a bunch of kind of new age ascribed folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I got invited to lunch, so I came out to lunch with them, and so many people were trying to curate these I noticed they were trying to curate these and present these very, very like pristine lives. Like there's no problems and no problems. And if they talked about somebody else, they'd be like, oh, it's their karma. It's their karma. It's their karma. And I was like, how does that, that's so, that swings in the other direction that makes me absolutely crazy, because
Mm-hmm.
we can't learn unless things are, just like you said, we can't learn unless there's some mess.
Right.
Like perfect spirituality, we're not here to learn that. We're not here to like hide in a hole. So
Yeah.
some mess is good.
What's the purpose of this environment that we're in? This is what makes this the best place to learn is the adversity that's provided to
Mm-hmm.
us. Sometimes it's like, I hate to say it that way, but it's like, um, yeah, it's through the challenges, our overcoming, learning our lessons, overcoming our challenges, um, and maybe we missed the mark. We took a shot at it, and it didn't work, and so we get a chance to try it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get the chance to try it again. Um, well, let me take a look at the comments. Gina says, I had a dream the other night that I'm supposed to start healing. I've always felt like this is something I'm supposed to do and have a desire to try. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, just start. Just start. Pick a pet. Pick a pet and start, or a loved one. But at the same time, I know that you're drinking your green tea, and so it's okay when you're feeling more up to it. See, Reverend Danny asks, does anyone remember the mirror meditation that was not about turning mirrors outwards, but something else? I remember looking into a mirror. I remember we had a meditation where we would look into a mirror and we put somebody there so we could have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
I remember that one. And sometimes people wanted to run out of the mirror because they're avoiding.
Really? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Do you remember a mirror meditation?
That's the one I was gonna.
Oh, okay. All right.
That one's great for when you think you can't get something out of your system, and you want to verbalize to the individual. You picture that big, fancy, ornate dressing mirror, and you visualize that person in the mirror, and then you let them have it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Reverend Danny says, thank you, Kat and Tom. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for all of the comments, everybody. And maybe it is time for meditation.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
We encourage you to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your laps, sitting upright as best you can. And for these wonderful meditations by Sylvia. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand. And for the rest of us, we're going to enjoy. Here we go. Find a nice place to sit upright with your feet flat on the floor and your hands upward on your lap. Palms up. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and body. And now close your eyes when you're ready.
Healing. Take a few moments now to drench yourself in the energy of forgiveness. Forgive yourself and others. Move into total peace and love. Let this spirit move through your body and into your hands. As they open, they get hot and glow. Ask now for the Holy Spirit to come. Asna's purity. Jesus' power. Have your hands heat up so that this spirit of healing comes through you. Everyone you touch and everyone who brushes against your aura will be healed by your hands. Ask for this gift today. Feel your hands get even warmer and begin to pulsate. You've been given the gift of healing. You can even put your hands upon yourself or others for healing. Don't be afraid. Ask for the gifts of prophecy and enlightenment. Ask for the channel to be pure. We're all prophets, all Essenes, all Gnostics. We're all seekers of truth. God has chosen us, so we are very blessed. And we can't get off this well-traveled path. We have been chosen, so there is no going back. The tragedy is that we're beating a new path, one that goes through ignorance and weeds and fear. But we're strong. For as long as you're around, you must carry that banner because it's deep-seated in your soul, and you want to make the world a better place. We want to make souls well, to turn darkness into light wherever we go. Feel that light come on, burning through you. Feel your soul begin to magnify. Feel that your heart is healed and your soul grows strong.
And now, on the count of 3, bring yourself all the way up. 1, 2, 3. Fully alert. You talk about?
She talked about how we have a healing ability and that we're empowered to use it. It's just by being children of God, we're empowered to use it. So it's the perfect place to leave off on, Miss Gina.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's by the end of it, I was like, I was like somewhere else, and then it's like, oh, we're at the end. I gotta come back. Okay. All right. What are we doing here? Oh, that was the meditation. Well, fun.
Yes.
So if you feel you have questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to kat@novus.org or tom@novus.org. And of course, we appreciate listeners, both live and on demand. Share your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by sharing, promoting, liking. Check out our websites. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Discord. Let's see. Study groups. Yes, we still incorporate and promote study groups because you'll learn more about our philosophy. Plus, you'll get a bonus of monthly Sunday service CD, or we're trying to do another format as well. That because not everybody has CDs. You don't find CD players in cars anymore. And you'll get a newsletter. Well, that's always readable on many devices. Let's see. Church services. Yes, I'm due to get set up for another one here pretty soon. Record on Facebook and YouTube. And if you'd like to participate in either a live special Zoom service or watch a live service on a Facebook group from Las Vegas, put your email on the website and you should get an invitation to participate in those. Now's the time for the novena. And why is this important? Because it falls right along with our tenet number 10. So the phrase we're going to say together as part of the prayer is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. And why, again, is this important? Our tenet number 10 says, no, let no one convince you that you are less than a God. Do not let fear imprison your spiritual growth. So I will lead us off. We'll just, we're going to say this phrase together. We'll say it 3 times, and then I'll let you know what you want to ask for after each segment that we do. While we're doing this, visualize that we're all together in a huge room. It doesn't matter whether you're listening live or on demand. Just visualize that we're all together holding hands, making this huge circle in a big room, and that we're saying all this together. So let's start. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay. Here we go. Again. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for others. Okay, and the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon for those seeking this spiritual knowledge. Where are we at? Oh, wow, fun. And now's when I encourage people to think of something that you're appreciative of over the last week or the month and carry that memory with you throughout the week. That'll help elevate your mood and help carry your emotions at a higher level throughout the week, this coming week. And show your appreciation to Francine and Raheim for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. And of course, Sylvia for coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement and for showing us some how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. And Asner for helping us and protecting us. And Father God for providing us the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. And of course, Bob for helping with some of the graphics and some of the audio, as well as Sammy and Javon for our wonderful intro-outro music. For the show, writing, setup, and hosting is Reverend Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now, a prayer by Sylvia. Really? Oh. Got it. Here we go. Prayer by Sylvia.
Prayer for animals. Dearest Christ consciousness and Mother and Father God, please protect all living things. Protect all the animals of this planet. Allow them to live with love and peace. Keep them safe from persecution and experimentation. Keep them from being cold and abandoned. Help the world to understand that this is all part of your creation. Make humanity understand that we must all live in harmony. Amen.
And Kat's going to tell us.
Happy Halloween! Hope you have a fantastic and safe weekend. We love you very much. Good night.
For so long we have ignored you, as if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You've planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Asna, how we love you. Place no one above You're more than a friend to me. You give me everything I need. In your peace you hold me tight. You are the bringer of the light. With no fear we boldly stand, because you hold this world in your hands. You are the truth, you are the hope and love we never knew. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God.